So before we attack the machine, the first thing we need to do is to find out which vulnerabilities are there. And this is where Nmap comes in. In this video, we're going to use Nmap to scan for vulnerabilities in our machine, in our vulnerable machine. So the first thing we need to do is to ensure that the two machines can communicate with each other. And here in VirtualBox, I have set up a host-only network and one NAT network. Now, the host-only network is a private network that is set up within the VirtualBox environment, which allows for communication between the virtual machines. The NAT network, on the other hand, is used to communicate with the internet outside. So, say I wanted to access the Google. So if I wanted to access Google, I would use the NAT network. And because I just want to communicate, I just want the machines to communicate within the VirtualBox environment, I'm going to use the host-only network. In this case, I'm going to use the VBox Net0 network. And the machines that we're trying to connect and to communicate with each other are the Kali Linux and the Metasploitable Ubuntu 14.04 vulnerable machine. So another thing we want is for both our machines to be in the same subnet. So this is our subnet mask, and this is our IP address, and these are the three consistent parts. And the last part, the last number, is the one we're going to use to assign the different IP addresses to the machines. So the machines are already running, and the first thing we're going to do is to check and find out the IP addresses of the machines. We can do this using the hostname-i command. So this is the address for our Kali Linux machine, 192.168.56 and 101. So we can also check the IP address of our Metasploitable Ubuntu 14.04. And so this is what it looks like. As you can see, it only gives us a command line. And I wasn't able to find one with a graphical user interface. I'm not sure if one is around, but yeah, so this also works. And we can also find out the IP address of this one. And as you can see here, we have an IP address that is under the same subnet mask. So in this case, it is 192.168.56 and 104. Next is we confirm if the two machines can communicate with each other. And we do this by using the ping, which is a network utility that can be used to check if another machine is reachable. So we can just use this command to send 4 packets from my exploitable Ubuntu machine to our Kali Linux machine and see if they can communicate. If the packets are sent, it means that the other machine is reachable, but if it fails, it means that they cannot communicate. So 4 packets transmitted, 0% packet loss, and yeah, so the two machines can communicate with each other. We can also try to ping it from the other side. Now we can send packets from the Kali, just for the fun of it, we can send packets from our Kali Linux machine to our Ubuntu Metasploitable, and we can use this command here. Means that we want to ping this address, and we want to send 4 packets. So the dash is for count, I think. Yeah, so it's going to send 4 packets to our Ubuntu machine. Yeah, so we have confirmed that both our machines are connected and can communicate with each other. So next, we're going to use Nmap to scan our Metasploitable machine. Now, Nmap is an open source network scanning tool, a powerful open source network scanning tool. You can use it to discover hosts on a network, to discover services that are running on the hosts, the service versions, and other things. So Nmap is very powerful and very useful for network scanning and port scanning. So I already have a command here that I'm going to use to conduct the scan. This command is very comprehensive. It's going to do a very comprehensive scan of our Metasploitable machine. So what this command does is, now the options that I've given to this command, -sv means that we want to do service version detection. So the services running on the machine, after we find them, we want the Nmap to also find the version of the services that is running. -pn instructs Nmap to skip host discovery because we already know our host. Luckily, it is our Ubuntu machine. We already know the host and the IP address that it is going to be using. -t4 sets the timing template to level 5. So this just means how fast Nmap can do the scan, how fast it's going to be sending packets to the network to analyze it. And -p specifies that we're going to do a port scan. And as you can see here, we're going to scan all the ports from port 1 to port 65,535. -ox is an option that specifies the output. We want the output of the scan to be saved in an XML file called scan.xml. And then finally, we pass the IP address of our Ubuntu machine. And so let's run it. So this took a few minutes, but here are the results of our scan. So the Nmap scan report for 192.168.56.104, which is the IP address of our target machine. So the next important part here in these results are the ports. Now, a port is basically the doorway into the service that is running on a machine. So each service or application running on a device is assigned a specific identifier. And this identifier is what we call a port number. So when applications are running on different devices, they need to be identified at both ends so that the correct data can be sent to the correct application on each device on both endpoints. So as you can see on the results, we have our port number, the state of the port, the service, and the version. So we're going to focus on the ports that have been marked as open because it means that those are accessible and potentially exploitable. And you can see there are some common ports here, like port 21. You might know that that's the FTP port. As you can see here, we have port 22, which is SSH, that allows for remote login. Port 80, which is HTTP, which means that there's a web server that is running currently on that machine. And then we have port 445, which is the server message book, the SMB port, this is used for file sharing on Windows. And this is also commonly targeted in attacks. And we also have port 3306, which is our MySQL port, a database service, and port 8181, which is another web service, but it will be like something like an admin panel or some kind of application. Anyway, each open port represents a potential entry point. So the next step we're going to do is to investigate these services for any vulnerabilities that might exist for the version of this service that we have here. And that is what we're going to do in the next video.